Cairo 7 presents a Seattle Supersonics 40th anniversary special, The Golden Era of Basketball.
This is a wonderful experience. There's nothing like winning a championship. There are three things in the world that bring people together: music, food, and sports. And we saw that here.
1979 was a different time for the National Basketball Association.
Dancing Harry, meet the Rainbow Man.
We're talking about high-waisted shorts.
Freddie Brown, Dennis Johnson, Jack Sikma, Paul Silas, and John Johnson on the floor for Lenny Wilkins.
And when shooting it from downtown had a totally different definition.
CJ taking him downtown, put it in, and he was fouled. Freddie will come up to the free throw line.
But Seattle reigned supreme, and all was well.
4, 3, 2, 1. Let the celebration begin in Seattle. It is over.
June 1st, 1979. The Seattle Supersonics won their only NBA title, ending a 6-decade championship drought for professional sports in Seattle.
Last play of the game clock winds down, you throw the ball up in the rafters. What's the thought on the bench and on the floor?
First of all, that was a bad move. If I knew how important and valuable
that valuable.
I would have never threw it out like
You never saw it again?
No.
In 1917, the Seattle Metropolitans became the first American team to win hockey's Stanley Cup. Fast forward just over a century now, hockey is returning to the Emerald City, and the NBA could be next. Hello, I'm Steve Rabel. From the championship game to the trophy presentation to the parade through the streets of downtown Seattle, it has all been preserved in the Cairo 7 archives, just the way it was broadcast back in 1979. And now, 40 years later, it is time to open the vault and relive those glorious times for this Supersonic special, the golden age of basketball.
When I got here and I met the people and I saw what this city was like and what it could become, I really fell in love with it and wanted to do everything I could to help it be successful.
You know the names well: Freddie Brown, Jack Sikma, Paul Silas. But when you think of the Seattle Supersonics, it starts and ends with the Hall of Famer, Lenny Wilkins.
I told the players that I wanted to make some changes, that I really believed that we could win, and I truly believe that. And the rest became history.
That same history we celebrate today.
Everything just went together, and these guys supported one another, you know.
I thought Lenny put together a wonderful mix of young players with some veterans. I mean, Fred and JJ and Paul have been around for a while. And I just remember it was always very competitive practices. I thought, I don't know if I've ever been in a team that got better as much in their practices as we have. We had guys stepping in every day and going at each other and trying to get better.
It was better, but things weren't good before he came. we were bad. 5-17, terrible record, but we're getting killed. It's not just we've got a bad record, we're not in games. And like, looked at the players in the room and said, I got confidence in you guys. You guys are good players. We're going to have a good team. We're like, I'm saying, is there somebody else behind this? You're talking to us, but he gave us confidence in a way that we didn't think we were any good, but he changed it.
Everybody knew their jobs.
Yes.
Everybody knew their responsibilities.
It was outstanding.
And that's another beauty that Lenny had. And remember this. Everybody on our team knew everybody's assignment and where they were supposed to be on what cadence that we did it. So if there was a mishaps, then we knew what was supposed to be there.
Right. Well, first of all, anything Fred was saying, take with a grain of salt, okay? But I've been listening to you guys. It's been great. I think the thing that really separates us from most teams, and I don't know if there was a scientific study of this, but if you like your teammates or you have certain bond with your teammates, does that translate to winning? I don't know, but it didn't hurt us.
I mean, I knew they knew exactly what I was talking about. We prepared. like Jack was saying. Our practices, we worked on stuff. Come on, you talk about if we were going to trap or rotate or whatever, everybody knew what they were supposed to do.
I mean, our practices, Steve, I'm telling you, Gus and I, we would enter the pass into these guys, Lonnie and Paul, or Jack or Dennis or somebody. I mean, these guys were going at it. Our best games were in practice at 12 o'clock. They were just beating the crap out of each other. So we knew, like, man. Remember we used to stand out there saying, these guys crazy or what?
The Sonics' run to 2 straight finals began when Lenny Wilkens returned to the Sonics as their coach early in the 1977-78 season. They won 42 of their final 60 games before making a deep push into the playoffs. The Sonics upset the NBA champion Portland Trail Blazers, beat the Denver Nuggets, but eventually lost to the Bullets before a sellout crowd in Seattle in Game 7 of their first NBA Finals. Then, in 1979, the rematch, a year in the making, but the Sonics would leave no doubt about it this time around.
Elvin will take it low, turn on, Sigma misses. Loose, run down by Dennis Johnson. On the dribble, he got past right. Dandridge comes with him. Dennis comes in with a field goal, and he's fouled. Score it for DJ Dennis Johnson out of Pepperdine.
It's Game 5 of the NBA Finals.
We begin period number 4, 69-66.
The Supersonics lead the series 3-1, but trail the Washington Bullets all game until late in the fourth. Here are Brent Musburger and Rick Barry on the call.
88-85 Seattle. Williams and Elvin Hayes directing traffic, and Gus puts him at 90-85. It's a 5-point Sonic lead. And there is the champagne inside the Seattle locker room as they close in on a world championship in Landover.
They got to help everybody now. They know they're going to go to these guards. Gus hit a big shot a moment ago. They got to help. Double out.
Bickerstaff is out on the floor. Williams dishes the side. It's Dennis Johnson. Dennis, it's a 4-point lead.
Gus hit the line.
Gus Williams, the Sonics leading by 2, and now it's 3 in 12 seconds, and now you can feel it.
That's the big one. All they got to do now on defense is put their hands in their pockets, give them a basket, but just drop it back down in the middle defensively, make them shoot outside, and do not commit a foul.
That's a 4-point lead in 12 seconds, and the Bullets will quickly huddle up around Dick Mutta now. They'll get down and fire quickly and try to pressure the inbounds pass. Meanwhile, the Sonics congratulating themselves over there in the corner. And I imagine folks all throughout the state of Washington and in Seattle, down to the great Northwest now, are reaching for the champagne, Hot Rod.
No question about that, Brent. They have richly deserved it when you could come away from home and win, and they've done it.
We will be inside that Sonic locker room if they capture this championship, and there's nothing quite like the first one. And if Seattle can do it, they will become only the second team in the last 20 years to win the title after losing in the final round the previous year. Start the countdown. Ballard off with the shot. Sonics control from the corner.
They don't even have to come in.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let the celebration begin in Seattle. It is over. The Seattle Supersonics have won the NBA World Championship Series in 5 games, beating the Washington Bullets 97-93. But listen to the crowd in Landover. Listen to this display of sportsmanship.
They're actually applauding everyone. Not a boo in this. Really applauding the play of both Seattle and the Bullets.
Coming up next, the party and the parade. Lenny Wilkens and the guys reminisce on one of the most joyous and jubilant days in the history of Seattle.
The nice thing was that they didn't destroy anything. They were there to cheer the players on. And so it was wonderful memories. And I loved every minute of it.
Cairo 7 presents 40 years a champion.
Seattle now had its first major sports championship in the modern sports era, and the celebration continued long after the final buzzer.
Johnson Dennis, I don't even realize that you were named the MVP. What are your feelings?
Right now, I'm ecstatic. I don't know what to say. I'm happy. I'm happy for the team. I'm happy for Seattle.
Listen, it had to be a tough year for you. You played so well last year. You lost in the 7th game, and up until that game, we all felt that you would have been the MVP in that series. Then you lost it, and yet you came back, had a great season, and here you are, and you've got it.
Just determination. We thought we should have last year, but we blew it. Natural just blew it. We came back this year with a lot more determination, hustle, a lot more guts, and we pulled it off.
Paul, you've been there before. This team reminded me a great deal of the way you played together, the unity you have with the old Celtic teams.
Well, yes, it is, Rick, but I tell you, this team was so young and so beautiful. I tell you, the guys really came through, never gave up, and I think this is the greatest one of all. How you doing?
Okay, well, congratulations to all of you. Let's go back to Brent Musburg. I'm taking a shower.
The champion in the NBA is the champion of the world. So the Seattle Supersonics are the new world champions.
The championship of the world, and congratulations to the organization that put this team together. And Sam, careful. Let me reach across here. What are your thoughts right now at this moment?
Friends, I'm going to be in a state of euphoria for years to come. This has been one of my main goals in life, to win a championship, and just give me another second or two. The achievements of the Seattle Supersonics starts from the very top to the very bottom. And without Azali Bolchak, without the kind of staff we have, without 11 wonderful players, and the genius of Lenny Wilkins and Les Harbacher, the Seattle Sonics would be nothing. And let me just compliment the Bullets for one of the finest shows of basketball ever seen in a championship. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam, very much. Coach Wilkins, tonight as I looked across the way, and Rick made the observation, we'd never seen you quite this intense before during a ball game. You didn't want this to go back to a Game 6 at all, did you?
Well, Brent, we definitely did not want to go back to Seattle. We wanted to clinch it here, to win it here. You know, the Bullets are true champions, and they beat us last year at home, and we kind of felt like we owed it back to them. But I think that's just good competitiveness between two of the greatest teams in the league. And we wanted it. We all were emotionally involved in the game, and it was just a great basketball game.
Emotions ran high from coast to coast. A sonic boom may have been heard from fans back in Seattle.
Bring the fat lady to Seattle, and we'll introduce her to the Weedle.
The world's champion Supersonics of Seattle, and everybody is going berserk. They're going up First Avenue, down First Avenue. Everybody in the world down here is honking their horn.
The celebration in the streets didn't end that night. Seattle rolled out the red carpet and came out in force to support their world champions.
The Seattle Supersonics with a great victory in that ball game and winning 4 straight from the Washington Bullets. And as we said, the crowd estimated by security forces at probably as much or possibly as much as 30,000. Nobody seems to really know, but I'll tell you, the crowd is just incredible.
It was so unbelievable. You know, where we stayed, we had a lot of people that we knew. But when I came back, I didn't know that those people were going to be there. And when I came back out, they were all there and just waving at me and everything. And it was just outstanding.
You know, they parked us out on the tarmac somewhere, and you just looked outside and there was just fans everywhere, you know, and that's a great feeling.
You know, we got to the airport and our plane had to go to a separate terminal because there were 20,000 fans at the airport. And then the parade, there were over 200,000 fans. And the nice thing was that they didn't destroy anything. They were they were there to cheer the players on. And so it was wonderful memories. And I loved every minute of it.
Players were greeted to roars as team owner Sam Schulman and head coach Lenny Wilkins greeted the Sonics faithful.
We'll never probably see again until next year when we win it for the second time. You have a wonderful friend, and you have the greatest coach in the history of the NBA. Lenny, welcome.
Just a few statements. Last night we operated. The operation was successful. We removed the fat lady's tonsils.
Days later, the buzz from the city's first championship in decades lingered in the streets.
Downtown Seattle swarmed with affectionate Sonic fans for over 3 hours Monday to see their heroes begin a 3-mile parade from Pioneer Square to the University Square. The players appeared to ride on the shoulders of more than 250,000 people who lined the streets, the sidewalks, window sills, rooftops. The crowd around 4th and University stopped the parade and then moved up to 5th and University, where the stage was set up.
And whereas this team is neither a bird nor a plane, but Supersonics, now, therefore, I, Charles Royer, Mayor of the city, etc., do hereby proclaim Monday, June 4th, as Sonics Day in Seattle.
You're really something, and like one of those dudes said, I don't know who said it, but we're going to return next year with another championship. Thank you. It's been a long time coming, and I know how all you feel, and I feel the same way that you do. Thank you very much. We deserve it.
Are you ready? Give me an F! Give me an O! Give me an N! Give me an I! Give me a C! Give me an F!
And although it's been 4 decades since that joyous and jubilant parade around Seattle, the fond memories remain top of mind for many on that championship team.
It was unbelievable. I hadn't even done that. You know, I had won championship before, but not the way they were doing that. And it was just outstanding. And everybody just was there and wanted to do things with us. And it was outstanding. It was just great.
They were with us in '78 when we lost. It was amazing. You know, I like to say that was Seattle back in the good days. We used to practice over in Bellevue, and we used to get to the Kingdome in 15 minutes. Try that now. You know, you can't get to the bridge in 15 minutes. So back then, the town was much more intimate, and I mean, wherever you went, they knew you and they really embraced you. So it was great back then. So now it's the best kept secret. It's out. Everybody and their brothers in Seattle now.
Coming up next, we'll celebrate the glory days and look ahead to when a reborn Sonics franchise could return to the Pacific Northwest.
You're watching a Supersonic special, celebrating 40 years a champion. Cairo 7 presents 40 Years a Champion.
Now I, Dow Constantine, Executive of King County, do hereby proclaim today, February 7th, 2019, to be Seattle Supersonics 1979 Champions Day in King County.
And it's always fun to see the guys. I think I saw them like 10 years ago, and we saw them at the 25-year reunion and stuff, and I don't see enough of them. It's great to see Gus. We had a long dinner last night, and he's a treat.
It was a great ride. That's what this reunion is all about. I think that there are some guys that I see 2 or 3 times a year. I come out from New York 2 or 3 times a year to play in Lenny's golf tournament or Jacob Green's golf tournament. So I see them because they live here. But the other guys like Dennis Autry, Paul Salas, Dick Snyder, those guys I haven't seen like 30, 40 years. So it's really good to see them. And we didn't miss a beat. I mean, we jumped right in and gave each other the business and started talking about the good old days. And it's a really great, special feeling.
But for every reunion, the memories of those who are no longer with us live on.
I mean, none of us
are getting any younger. And we look back after 40 years and some of those, the JJs and the Lonnies and those guys that aren't here. What are some thoughts about those guys?
Well, JJ, I played with him, so I knew what his abilities were. And I would tell our guys, Gus and Fred and Dennis, if JJ gets the ball, take off, because he'll find you. He could handle it, and he did.
I would run a guard off of Paul that was close to me, dogging me. He'd knock him down, and then he'd bend over with a big smile and help him up. I run him off of Lonnie Shelton because I said, okay, I gotta fix this. Run him off of Lonnie knock you down. He dare you to get him.
DJ sticks with him. They go one-on-one. Dandridge to the shot in the glass. Sigma take it away, and it's on the end line. Bullets ball.
DJ's been MVP all year. I mean, he's been consistent. He's been the player that we need. Nothing that really sets him apart except on his defense. We put him on our best offensive player, and he shut him down, and that helps us win the game. So
he was one of the first guards that really, well, I shouldn't say the first guys. You had the Jerry Wests and stuff like that, but he was a total force. Defensively he was so tough. And, big shot came, he wasn't afraid to take it. And so DJ was, he was a great player. That's all I can say, just a great player.
July 2nd, 2008 is known as one of the grimmest days in Seattle sports history. After a long legal battle, the Sonics' 41-year run in Seattle came to a close.
One final thing, there's so much uncertainty right now. How are you handling this? And you're kind of the face of the franchise now. Do you talk about this a lot, or are you just waiting to see what happens?
No, I'm just waiting to see what happens. I think it's right around the corner to see what we're going to do next year. And, I'm looking forward to, wherever we go. And I just got to play the game and continue to work hard and, help this team win.
Would it bother you if you did leave Seattle, though?
It would. I love Seattle. I've only been here for a year. My home is here. My family's moved out with me, and I love it here. But like I said, I have no control. Wherever we end up, we end up.
Representatives from 3 NBA teams say they will support moving the team out of Seattle. Cairo 7 Eyewitness News reporter Chris Eggert is live with the latest developments, including statements made late this afternoon from NBA Commissioner David Stern. Chris?
Well, Monique, it was Stern, it was the mayor of Oklahoma City, and it was also Sonics owner Clay Bennett, all saying the same thing, essentially. It's not a matter of if Seattle will leave downtown Seattle, but when.
3 members of the committee concluded that they would recommend to the relocation committee that it recommend that the franchise be permitted to relocate from Seattle to Oklahoma City.
Tonight, that vote moves Seattle one step closer to losing the Sonics. In another vote, the NBA Board of Governors will be deciding the team's fate in New York City.
They say time heals all wounds.
Weasel, weasel, weasel.
But for Sonics fans, that couldn't be further from the truth.
For him to think that somehow or another that everybody's forgiven and forgotten about that, the loss of the team, every time you see Oklahoma City play in the NBA playoffs or anywhere else, you're reminded, of the loss of the Sonics, and you're reminded who was responsible for that loss.
A city searching for answers, starving for basketball, sits idle like the rush hour traffic it produces.
We made our home here in Seattle. Our kids grew up here. This is a wonderful city. You've seen how it has taken off. It's the IT capital of the world, and certainly deserves a basketball team.
It's great, and it just goes to prove that, Seattle needs a team back here. It's ridiculous. I think that everybody's been, I don't know, has it been 10 years since the Sonics? 10 years, 8, 9, 10 years? So, I don't know, it's coming, it's coming, and it'd be well deserved, because at the time when they moved, they was one of the best franchises in the NBA. So it didn't make business sense anyway. So I'm sure it's going to be here, and when it happens, I'll be back in Seattle more often.
I hope they get another team. There's no town, no city in the country that deserves a team more than this does. You're always going here, they're taking teams there, to make us a world-class city. This is a world-class city. You know, you don't need the Sonics to make it world class, but it would really be nice to have a team back. They deserve it.
First off, I want to get a shout out to the Seattle Storm for holding it down and winning the championship. Much love. On behalf of myself, NBA, and my organization, my teammates, we'd like to thank you guys for coming out, supporting us. I know it's been a rough 10 years. NBA is back in Seattle for tonight, but hopefully it's back forever soon.
Whether or not a team ever returns to the Pacific Northwest remains a mystery, but the love for the Supersonics and Seattle as a whole is undeniable.
I'm happy with the city. When I was here 12 years ago, and when I came back here, I couldn't believe that this city is unbelievable now. It is so great. I told my wife, this is where we should have been. Okay.
I had the opportunity to watch and know the guys, many of them from that '79 championship Sonics team. We kind of grew up together, and so it was so much fun for me this morning to be with all of them at the Chihuly Glass Museum for their kind of recognition to the local press. Everybody looks a little older, but it's still a family. And a few weeks ago, I sat down with a cameraman at the station, and he was just asking me a few questions. What do you remember about that '79 team? These were a couple of thoughts, and it was amazing to me how much we talked about that this morning, the guys themselves. A couple of thoughts on the '79 championship Sonics.
3, 2, 1, and the Supersonics win their first ever NBA championship. The ball sails high in the air.
There is something about winning a championship that makes everybody feel like they've had a little part to play in it. They played terrific defense and they could score, but it was those people, those human beings that made that team so special.
Here comes Sam Shulman with the trophy. Here's Lenny Wilkins with him as they come off the plane.
And then there were 250,000 people in downtown Seattle for the parade. It was a complete representation of who we are as a city. It's hard to believe it's been 40 years. There have been some of the guys who passed away. You don't get to feel it enough, but maybe that's what makes it so special, is that when it does come along, you know it, and you want to make it happen again. Nothing brings a city together like a championship. Those were truly fabulous memories. Thanks so much for being with us, helping us celebrate 40 years a champion, the golden age of Supersonics basketball. If you'd like to learn more about the Sonics 40th anniversary, just head to KIRO7.com. Meantime, I'm Steve Rabel. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you for watching this Supersonics special, celebrating Seattle's one and only NBA championship.